today is presented by BIAS, Business Intelligence as Service, and Boring Because Limited. Your presenters today are Paul Grabham, President and CEO, and Dan Perrato, a customer engineer at BIAS, and myself, Warren Causey. We appreciate you attending today. Utilities in recent years have been bombarded by new systems delivering extensive data, and given the directions of the industry towards smart grids, it's essential that utilities have ready, usable, understandable access to all these data that are being generated. We've been doing a series of webinars on these particular issues. This is the fourth in the series, as you can see on the screen. We've talked about building analytics roadmaps, drilling down on utility projects, building utility dashboards. Today we're going to concentrate on the issue of getting more information and value from mainframes. A lot of utilities have older COBOL-based mainframe customer information systems or other systems that are out there, and it isn't necessary to junk those systems to get the value of modern analytics and business intelligence. We're going to talk about that today. The next webcast will be on mining value from the meter data management system, and then, as you can see, the others that are planned. One of the major problems that utilities face today is a lack of data exploration and data vitalization tools. These tend to make analysis difficult, and utilities need more visibility into all the data that they have available. The time to export data is lengthy from some of these older systems, leading to batch reporting at best. There are better ways to handle that. And of course, a lot of utilities are dependent upon potentially retiring staff who have familiarity with COBOL and losing the ability to continue to use those systems effectively. At this time, I'd like to turn the floor over to Paul Grabham, who will talk about some of the possibilities and some of the things that can be done. Paul?
Thanks, Warren. So basically what we're going to go through today, and Dan's going to actually demo to you, is how we're going to basically push a advanced ETL tool close to a mainframe system, work with these legacy programmers to create files from which we'll then transform into a database. And then basically using kind of the modern data visualization tools, very quickly we're going to be able to show trends, etc., and interactive what-if analysis on this data, which has not really been able to be done before. And then very easily, and we're going to show you this, you'll actually be able to do that slice and dice from mobile, from your desktop. So the idea is this data through these tools, you're making a big advance without a big investment. So, and then very quickly after that, because you've pulled that data into one place and we put it into a newer technology, into a different database, we're then very simply then to go after, say if we wanted to get 360 view of the customer, or we wanted to do more revenue assurance, we can start pulling some of this cross-system data together. So going on to looking at making use of this COBOL data, what do we need? So, can we go through that, Dan?
Yep, I got it. So how to make this COBOL data useful? So there's some prerequisites you got to go through here. First of all, you need to know what you want to look at. So you need to work with your team to see what data exactly you want to look at. You need to have staff on that can actually get this data out. So like Paul was saying, the problem is, Warren was saying, a lot of the staff is retiring. So it's not always available to have people that can actually do the programming to extract this data. So you do need someone that can actually create these extract jobs to pull out the data. In addition, You need somewhere where you can post these files, which is pretty common. You can post them to any sort of FTP or folder on your server, and this needs to be accessible for your ETL tool, which brings us into needing an ETL tool capable of handling COBOL files and copybooks. Previously, many of these ETL tools weren't really able to do this. In the more recent years, there's been a lot of advancement in ETL. Many of the products are able to handle this. Today, in specific, we'll go over using SAP data services. In addition, we need a data warehouse.
So just to add a point there, Dan, was that by using a tool, and we're just using an example of using business object data services today, but the idea being is that if you can actually map this data into the tool, from COBOL, then the idea is that the tool is a lot more user-friendly and you're less reliant on developers. So going forward to create more reporting, the idea is that you'll be tools-based, not dependent on developers.
Exactly. So, for example, if you did pull out, say, that unstructured data, which we'll show you here in a minute, you would need to do additional development just to get that data useful, just to get it into a format that you can at least read. And like Paul was saying, you have data visualization tools to show and analyze your data. So here you can see we named the slide from 1970s to 2013. So you can see here, this is kind of a little more in depth than what Paul went through previous, but you can see here the COBOL mainframe. You can schedule extract job, and typically when you do this, it creates two files. There's a text data file, which is a flat file. It's going to be very raw, almost unreadable data. And then you have your CPY file, which is a copybook file, which is your structure file. This basically tells you, it tells how that text file is formatted. As I spoke before, this would be posted to some sort of directory or an FTP. Your ETL tool can be set to sweep that directory. You can set it up to be daily, nightly, multiple times per day, depending on your needs. And it pulls that text data and the copybook file structure into the ETL project. What will happen is the ETL tool is able to then transform this into more standard table format. Before it pushes it into the data warehouse, what you'll also get is a cleanup of your data. So a lot of times you'll see various unreadable characters, zeros, unwanted spaces. These ETL tools now are able to clean that data up so that when it goes into the data warehouse and before it gets pushed out to the visualization tools, it's all nice and clean. So like I said, it'll be pushed into a data warehouse and then you're able to pull that data, we'll show today, into mobile dashboards and various data analysis tools. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and I can give you guys a demonstration of what we're talking about here. So first, I can go back. We set a extract job and extracted some data around customer data as well as some meter usage data. Let me go here and share my desktop. So we have this data here posted to a directory that's on our server. These are the two files that I was speaking about earlier. You have a text file here. If I open this, you can see here at the top, this isn't very useful. If you look through here, basically this is meter reading data. If you scroll down here, you can see some more. We have customer names, customer types. As you can see, there's lots of zeros in here. In order to get this useful, as we were saying previously, you would have to do additional development just to get this into, let's say, even Excel format. And once we get into Excel format, then we would have to create some more reports and graphs off it. Luckily nowadays, these ETL tools are able to extract this and get into a more usable format. So like I said, I have the text file here. And then we have the copybook file. And this is the file that's letting us know how to read that, that data will be read. So we had this one's pretty simple. It's two hierarchies, customers and readings. So what I'll do now is I'll show you business objects data services and how this is going to pull this data into business objects data services and transform it. So I can open a project here. I've set up this COBOL demo project. As you can see from the beginning, this is very friendly user interface. Everything is pretty much click and drag and drop, and you don't really need much programming language knowledge. So you can see here we created two data flows, one for customers and one for readings. Let's look at this readings data flow here. So what we have is a target, a query, and a source, a query, and a target. So if we look in here, we can see the data file is pointing to that D directory, which was that reading text file. Right? And we had a lot of that unreadable data in there. You also see over here on the left, we have the copybook file here, which is also pointing at that file that's stored in our server. So this is actually letting data services actually using this file, so it's able to read and decipher that data in the text file. So if we go back to our data flow, you can see here that we have a target. So in our example here, we're using a database type, so Oracle 11G database. We give it its name. There's a few options you can do here, such as rows per commit, delete data before loading table. And once again, this is all very, previously, you had to do a lot, you had a lot more SQL knowledge. Now this is all, clicks, drags, drops, and all menu driven. So if we go back out to our data flow again, we can also see, so through here it's transforming the data, and you can see here, if we take a look, we can see all those numbers. This is obviously already in a better format than previous. It's much more readable. It's in basic table format here, so it's all broken out. Let's go back and look at that customer data. So I know there was some zeros and unreadable characters in there. And you see they still have them here. But what will happen when we run this job, it's going to clean it all up before it goes to our Oracle database. So if you look here, like I said, you can execute this job, and it's going to post everything to our target system, which is the Oracle database. And then we'll actually be able to use this data on regular visualization tools. In this example, we're going to show two different reports. One is a Business Objects Explorer report, and then we're also going to share a mobile SAP Business Objects Dashboard Designer report. This is going to be shown on our iPad. So if I close out here, and go into our Business Object Explorer, you can see here is all that data that was in that text file. Clearly, this data is a lot more useful right now and legible, and now we're able to actually start slicing and dicing this data. So let's say, for example, you wanted to see outages by month to see if there's any trends as far as when outages occur, and you wanted to slice that down even another step, and look at by type. So you want to see residential versus commercial versus industrial customers. And you're able to do that all from that text file. So taking a step back, basically, without any real programming or in-depth technical knowledge, we're able to take those files and push them through this ETL tool, Business Object Data Services, and then visualize that data. We also have another report here. We're going to try to switch over to my desktop. I can show you guys on our iPad. So as you can see, we're here on my iPad, and we have the same data. We're using the same data that we were using in that previous report. This is a different tool. This one here is Business Objects Dashboard Designer, formerly known as Excelsius. This is a little more of a visual tool, more of an executive tool. You can see here we have the same set of data, just displayed a little bit different. You can do things such as drill down. You can look at, let's say, industrial customers, and you can get their usage, monthly usage numbers. You can see their outages and outages by month. So as you can see, from that very, very raw set of data, we were able to transform that and bring it into 2013 data visualization tools. And we switch back here to the presentation.
Okay, well, thank you, Dan. Yes, I want to turn it over to Paul just in a moment, but as Dan has shown, those old COBOL mainframes are still extremely useful. The data is there in many cases. It's a matter of getting it into, as Dan said, 2013 format so that we can use it. Paul, do you want to take it over from here?
Yeah, so I think what we were just trying to show you there is something that is quick and easy to perform. In that, really, as Warren just said, the data is there. It might not be structured as you might like. I think if you go in working and you build towards the data model, one not necessarily associated with one vendor, but maybe a reference model, and then basically build into a standard Oracle SQL database, and then, but using the tool, and then really putting the knowledge that the people that have been, coding these systems for a while, but put that knowledge into the mapping, so that, going forward, you're going to have access to this data in a relational database like SQL, like we said. And then the point is that tool is very user-friendly, but also that it makes the data available to the visualization tools where you can do trend analysis, where you can actually start using the business, try driving the business more. We also said because you're using the hub and spoke approach with the ETL tool, that you're repeating a lot of the mapping, and therefore to bring on other systems, whether they be other COBOL systems or even other ERP systems, etc., pulling that data with the ETL tool. And, in that case, Business Objects even comes with a lot of adapters. But the ability to use Excelsius kind of out the box in terms of getting access to this data, I think going to the second point, this being a low-cost solution, a lot of co-ops today, I think, faced with the solution of can they afford to upgrade to an Oracle CMB billing system or SAP. But maybe that is on the cards in the next 3 years or so. But I think what can be delivered in the space of weeks is that if you can wrap tools like these around your existing legacy systems, I believe you can drive a lot of value at a much lower cost and in a short space of time, because I think really you're looking at being able to get a series of reports up and running in the space of 2 months, and really start showing some value and getting things out in front of users.